Hey folks, let's run through this. Figure I'd throw in a couple of little bonus things too. This is something that we hear about here in Texas, that cause if you've driven through Texas anytime soon, you'll see out in the great, cause we have a lot of great wide open in Texas. And I've only actually seen one time with my naked eye. I seen one turbine on fire. But one thing I know is the fire crew said they're not equipped to handle turbine fires. The fire is way up there. Well, just get a helicopter and dump water on it. Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, how hard can that be? How hard can that be? Dump water on electricity. Yeah, real smart. Anyway, I'm not gonna go through this. I'm going to post the links in the description box of anybody that wants to see them. Yeah, that thing's toast. The replacement, the repair that happens to these giant windmills. Oh, and I seen a video somewhere here on YouTube, as a matter of fact, where there was one on fire. And it was out in the ocean, foreign country, European country, I think. But anyway, let me see. Now, I'm just gonna roll through these. I'm gonna put the links in there because this is stuff I know folks and I hear about stuff. So I just report on it. I put it out here. Top 3 types of wind turbine failure. Oh, we're going to get down to the energy thing. Don't worry about it. Blade failure. I done a video some years ago. I need to put that in there on what they have no real viable way of salvage, of throwing away, trashing the blades. The blades don't last forever. They got a life cycle. And I'm not going to get into it. I'll just put the link to the video that I covered. It's been well over a year ago on how they're dismantling them and what they're doing to chop them up. And they're burying them in some giant freaking landfill that they bought, and just tons of acres. And it's a mess. Anyway. Blade failure, generator failure, and gearbox failure is the I don't know if they put them in order, which one happens the most, or they just numbering them just for the sake of numbers. I don't know. Gearbox, most do not make it past the 10 years, falling short of their 20-year design lifespan. Imagine that. Each year, there are approximately 1,200 gearbox failures. The bearings in the gears make up 96% of the failing components within the gearbox. Like I said, I'll put this link in the description box for anybody that wanted to look into it further. Okay, let's get into the meat. Okay, here we go. You see where is that? You see where we at? nsenergybusiness.com is this website. November Sierra. Almost said Nancy because I just done that video on Nancy Pelosi's husband getting the DWI. My bad, dog. nsenergy.com. Okay, the world's most used energy sources. Okay, let's get it. Energy Business Review lists the world's most used energy sources based on the share of each source to global energy consumption in the past 5 decades, according to BP's estimates. Oil has been historically the world's most used energy source, accounting for approximately 39% of the global energy consumption. Oil. Despite a decline over the past 2 decades, the demand for oil has remained high, principally due to demand from emerging economies, especially non-OECD countries. That's you ain't an OPEC, okay? Oil consumption in 2014 grew by 0.8% over 2013, making it the highest growth among all fossil fuels. That little thing, wow. The U.S. has been the biggest oil consumer for the past 2 decades, followed by China, which has been consuming increasingly more oil, especially gasoline. Demand for middle distillates have been sluggish in the recent years due to weaker diesel demand caused by poor economic growth, whereas light distillates demand is on the rise. Covered all this in another video, and the video I done on what comes out of a barrel of oil, and the petrodollar video with Lizabetty. Yay! I like me some Lizabetty. She is special. That is one special woman right there. Oops. Let me slide that over a little bit. Get it in the center there. I'm hiding that little whale over that one back there. I don't want to hide you, little buddy. Come on out here so we can see you. Yeah, there you go. Next, coal. What I tell y'all, what I say. I've done that coal video too. I've done a lot of these stuff. I mean, if y'all want to check it out, just hit up my archives. Just put it in there and you'll see it. Coal has been on one of the fastest growing fossil fuels owing to China's rapid industrialization. Remember I told you? Coal consumption in the last 10 years have grown at 2.9% on average, but its share in global energy consumption has been on the decline, although last year was an exception with a 0.4% rise. See, China ain't playing these games that the rest of the world is playing. I ain't saying the game, hey, look, I understand global this, clean air, clean water, runoff, slag, clinker. I know, I get it. But you can't, never mind. China and India, they blowing and going, okay, with the use of coal. And we still use it here in the United States, just not as much as these other countries do. Coal usage in China is being replaced by more favorable fuels, which its value in the power sector has been down as a result of strong growth in hydropower installations. They had that massive failure at that hydro dam. Anyway, India recorded the world's biggest volumetric increase of 11.1% in coal consumption in 2014. I need to do a separate video on India's manufacturing business. India ain't playing. I'll put that one on the itinerary. Somebody, y'all hold me to that, okay? Y'all hold me to that, cause I'm getting old. I forget stuff. Gas, 22%. Gas consumption grew at an average rate of 2.4% in the last 10 years. Demand for gas is primarily linked to temperature variations, and in recent years, its consumption has been affected by weak demand in Europe due to mild winters. Gas has also lost its share in the power sector, where fossil fuels are still the preferred option. Europe recorded its biggest volumetric and percentage decline of 11.6% in gas consumption in 2014. The continent, however, still continues to be the leading natural gas consumer, followed by North America since the past decade. Now, when we say gas, we're not talking gasoline. We're talking natural gas. We done I think we done that also with Lizabetty. The map of the natural, maybe I done it by myself. I don't know. The gas-fired power plants in the United States that replace the coal-fired power plants. And some of them are actually hybrid plants where the coal part of the plant hasn't phased out completely. It's still there, but it's gas fired. It's hard to explain, but I'm sorry, y'all. But I don't want to keep y'all here for an hour, breaking down little pieces and whatnot, because making more people upset than I am giving them information. Hydroelectricity, 6%, is a fast growing energy source with a global share of more than 6%, while its 10-year average growth rate is 3.3%. Hydroelectricity consumption has been steadily on the rise, with Asia Pacific accounting for a major share. Consumption in China, again, Nicotella, we're going to do this. We show you how it work. Okay. All right, Jay. Which is home to the world's biggest hydropower plant, the Three Gorges Dam, grew by 15.7% year on year in 2014. That's not the one I was talking about where they had that big giant kerfuffle. Yeah, you get it right, Nicotella. The upward trend witnessed in the hydroelectric power plant power consumption is a result of a number of factors, including its relatively low cost per unit. The money in that is right up front in building the place. But once it's built, for some reason, I don't know why, the hydroelectric power plants tend to return their dividends, their ROI, faster than natural gas plants. Why? I do not know. It just is what it is. That's the trend that I see anyway. Nuclear. My president W couldn't say nuclear to save it. Nuclear. It's nuclear, George. That's what I said. No, George, that you said nuclear. Let's just get on with the story. Nuclear energy, 4.4%. We have nuclear power plants here in South Texas. Nuclear energy consumption has grown over the past couple of years and has recently crossed its 10-year average annual decline of 0.8%. Nuclear energy output and consumption are still in the recovery phase after the Fukushima incident. That was bad. With production still being 10% below the 2006 peak. For the first time since 2009, nuclear energy seems to be gaining its global market share, with a growth of 1.8% being registered in 2014. The thing is, the problem, y'all, is what to do with the spent rods, how to safely wear and how to safely store the spent rods, the spent nuclear fuel, so it's not a giant danger, to the people. And but yeah, that's the downside with nuclear. It takes a very small pellet and it makes it releases a lot of energy. But even when it's no longer viable for using for energy output, it still stores enough energy to hurt you, to harm you and harm your surroundings. So it's dead, but it's not dead. Think of a zombie. The U.S. has been the leading nuclear energy consumer for the past 2 decades, followed by France. Japan recently witnessed a complete halt in nuclear power generation. Yeah, we know. The Sendai nuclear power plant that was brought back online in August 2015 is Japan's only operating nuclear power plant. I think so far as per capita, that France, the majority of France's electricity comes from nuclear power. France is, it says the U.S. leading in consume. Yeah. France has more nuclear power plant. More France's electricity consumed by the people comes from nuclear power. France ain't playing. France ain't playing. I give them that much. They ain't playing. Hold on a second. Stretch that. Oh my gosh, darn it. Come on, thing. Stop it. Okay, what am I doing? Oh, might help if I stop hitting the Windows button. Come on, thing. I'm sorry, y'all, because I got my letters cut off on the end and I can't have that. Sorry about that. Where were we at? Wind, 0.22%. It ain't even 1%. Wind, which contributes approximately 3% of the global electricity generation, has witnessed a double-digit growth in consumption, growing at a compounded annual growth rate. Sound like we getting a bank loan of 23.5% in a recent decade. Y'all seen the stuff? Y'all seen the stuff I put on the wind for you? I'm gonna put some pictures at the end too as it close out. No end, just pictures. Wind usage last year, however, grew at a below average rate of 10.2% compared to 10-year average due to reduced public policy support in Europe and the United States. Germany was the leading consumer of wind energy in 2007 until 2007, when it was overtaken by the U.S. as the world's biggest wind power producer as well as consumer. Wind is also becoming increasingly popular in Asian countries, with Asia Pacific overtaking European and Eurasian countries in gross installed capacity for the first time in 2014. Challenges to the growth of wind usage as an energy source are principally from the low utilization factor and the need for higher government support. That means government support mean the government paying for it with tax dollars. Geothermal, biomass, and waste, 0.4%. Total consumption of geothermal biomass and waste in the last 5 decades was more than 1.6 billion ton of oil equivalent, making them a growing segment of renewable energy. Geothermal is well established and relatively more mature among the three sources. Geothermal energy is used significantly in countries including the United States, Kenya, Iceland, El Salvador, and New Zealand. Its overall share in global power generation is, however, very low at 0.3%, as it's concentrated in a few places. The U.S. has been the leading consumer of geothermal power for the past few decades. And last but not least, solar. I just done a video on solar power of what was going on there in Georgia. Georgia. Jawgay. Georgia. No, AH. Yeah. Solar, 0.03%. Solar power has been fast gaining ground as the preferred energy source, with installed capacities having more than quadrupled in the past 4 years. Yay! Solar energy's share in global power generation has doubled in recent years and currently stands at approximately 0.8%. Yeah. Solar contributed approximately 15% to the growth of global power in 2014. Germany has been the leader in solar power usage since 2005. Deutschland, yeah. While Asia Pacific has also been recording strong growth owing to developments in China and Japan. Okay, that's it. That geothermal, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. I'm sorry, y'all. The oil is king, gonna be king for a long time. And like myself and Elizabeth said, there's more stuff that comes out of a barrel of oil, a drum of oil, than just, gas for your car and diesel for trucks. Textile industry, paint, I mean, you name it. Kerosene, tar, the asphalt for for your shingles and asphalt, the shingles for your roof, asphalts for the road, sealers, glue, adhesives. I mean, man, there's so much stuff comes out of that drum of black gold. Y'all be good, be safe, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.